I was in a very peculiar kind of family. I didn't feel the same as my friends in school because my brother in Belgium had the age of being my father, and my father had the age of being my grandfather. So it was very atypical as a family. It was, I think there was a certain level of shame, not really consciously, but the feeling that I was not at the right place, you know. I think it affected me, and I didn't realize it at the time. It's only in the late years that I understood that somehow it shaped me. It's kind of all connected, retrospectively. I mean, that's the kind of story I'm building up to better understand who I am, of course. My father and my mother had agreed to name me Axel. My mother tells me. But then after my birth, my father left to the administration to declare my birth. He had a doubt about the name. And he actually exchanged with the printer, the guy in charge of the printing. And he said, Eric is quite fashionable at the time. It's a pretty good name. So my father opted for Eric, which was found by the printer, without telling my mother. So when he came back to the hospital, he said his name is Eric. And I never identified myself with this. It's better now because I kind of take ownership of the story, if you like. But somehow I never felt at ease with this name. You know, first times in life are very important. They are very strong experiences, and the experience of childhood is very strong. And it defines you, you know, you keep relating to your first years in life. Once you understand better, or once you have one possible understanding of your story and the stories of those before you, it helps you to become whatever you feel like. Those are the foundations you can build on. But if you don't know the foundations, it's sometimes difficult to be really free, I think. I started drawing comics when I was a teenager. So it started there, then I did a little photography, and then, I don't know, it was like, I think, nothing really interested me when I finished high school. And then I said, well, let's try filmmaking. Why not? But I thought it was unreachable. So, but still, I went there, and then I did this 2 years of studies. It was pretty short, and I was very young when I started working at Belgian television. And then in the making, you feel like you want to do things differently. I worked for a national television, I did all kinds of stuff, and I thought, what could I do better? You're very privileged to be able to go into places where people live their lives, and you can do so because you have a magic key, which is a camera, and sometimes people open their doors, and you can be next to them, and you can film people when they are living something which is totally new in their lives, you know, like what I call a fish out of the water, where everything changes around you, and we can learn from that. I think the viewers can learn from that, and they can learn through a story if the story is properly told. And film is a fantastic mean to tell stories. It's very rich. I think words are poor compared to images. Images are very rich, and they can convey information, emotions, which are difficult to put into words. So it's some kind of easier to put shots together. Ideally, you should be able to dive into a situation and capture it the best you can. And improvise a lot. And also there's no second take most of the time. You have to capture it, which is great. It creates a lot of tension, if you like. You're totally absorbed by what you do. It's wonderful. I mean, if you're a documentary filmmaker, you seize life, yes? And life is unpredictable. You have to give yourself a chance to capture what is improbable. You cannot write that. How would you be able to write that? It's being able to make an experience which makes the knowledge worthwhile. You know, I said, Erik muss das sehen, Erik muss das wissen, in German, which was actually my first language, my mother's language. Which means Erik must see this, Erik must know this, meaning that you can learn through seeing, not the other way around. And also I'm a very practical guy. I'm a filmmaker, but I like to use objects. You know, I like to think with my hands somehow. So I need the experience first, and the experience triggers my thinking. And I think for the viewers it should be the same. If you make if you film a story you film an experience, and then you pass it on to the viewers. And if the film is well made, the viewers will receive an experience, which might help him questioning himself about whatever it is, when it's a documentary. I believe that we are all strangers to each other. We tend to define ourselves by identifying ourselves to a group. You know, it could be professional, it could be a nation, it could be a gender, it could be many things. When we identify ourselves to a group, we tend to believe we are the same. And I think this is very dangerous, because we're not. We would like to see the perspective of someone else, but it's impossible. But we keep trying. You can film with a camera, you can film a character, a subject, and get very close to him. But still, it's kind of an impossible task. So in this regard, we definitely are different and strangers to each other. And those differences enrich us, actually. So for the time being, I'm filming strangers. Everybody is a stranger to me here because I live in Vilnius, and so I can grab my camera, leave the house and film anyone in the street, and everybody is interesting. I like to film action, actually. You know, I like a story to speak by itself. I was very surprised when I started because people are so interesting. Everybody has something else to tell. Inviting people to speak their own language, it helps people to express themselves more spontaneously. Because in the end, what really matters is the emotion. It's not so much what people say. Sometimes they can say something very trivial, but the way they would express it. There are other moments where they show more of themselves, actually, but in other ways. This is why film is so rich, actually, because an interview on camera is different from an interview on paper. It is definitely a way to discover, yes. But it doesn't need to be the other side of the world. It can be here, behind the door. The first time I came here was in 22. It was a beautiful summer. Well, it's a very appealing town. So it's a very nice place to live, and I have wonderful experiences with people here. When I came, I didn't know anyone. And there was a guy, when I moved here, I brought all my stuff with the help of a mover from The Hague, where I lived before, to Vilnius. So it had to be unloaded from the truck. And there were 2 young students helping to do that. And there was one guy, he was not the kind type. And he knew everything better, you know. There was very fragile furniture and objects, and he didn't pay much attention, and he knew everything better, although it was the first time he did that, he told me. And then he warned me. He said, "Strange that you move here," he said, "because Lithuanians are very rude." He was the rudest person I met. I don't know what art is, to start with. So, and films also, yes, films, everybody can watch a film. I mean, the film language is quite universal, but then the subjects can vary and can be, you know, some aspects of a film can be culturally sensitive in another part of the world, so it's difficult. Because we are different and we have different perceptions. So yes, globally, the film language is quite universal today. But then the story we tell, not necessarily, or they can be seen by anyone, but can be perceived differently because we are different. Even among ourselves. I mean, we don't have the same taste for films. We don't like the same. Not everybody likes. There's not such film which appeals to everybody. It's not my comfort zone here. My comfort zone is there.